Hey everyone, it's Sonic Wolf and welcome back to more Sonic Colors. In this episode, we are going to 100% complete the Aquarium Park. Now, before we continue, I want to give you a little bit of a side note while I'm recording this. This is actually the longest amount of footage I had to record because there are a few acts that I really hate a lot. And it took me a lot of attempts to figure out a strategy and a lot of paths. Because the underwater levels, they are the absolute worst. They're basically a nightmare for me to get a lot of red rings in that specific element. Well, anyway, here on screen is the ranking system. So, anyway, let's just get this over with. Okay, so the first red ring is at the very beginning. Once you're in the segment where the path is going down, you can actually do a double jump and then boost into the railing or the rainbow rings. Now, while you're on the railing, you keep going until you can get your first red ring. So now that you got laser, you don't want to activate it too soon. You want to save it for later. The second red ring is underwater. And you want to equip drill, and you want to keep going until you can find the second red ring just right next to that spike ball, and it's right in the corner. It's a little bit difficult to find, but the more you look, the easier it is. Now, getting the third one and continuing is very complicated. So you want to go into this pipe, and you want to select the middle and the bottom pipe. Do not go to the top one first. Reason for that being is that after you exit that pipe, you want to destroy as much blocks as you possibly can, and you're gonna backtrack on that same path. So it's really important that you clear a path when using drill. Now the third red ring is on the top pipe, and do not move the analog stick, as tempting as that sounds. Now, red ring number 4, if you still have laser, you want to keep going above the water surface, and it's at the very end of that side. Now, once you're on the platform that's going down, you want to keep going until it stops. And once it actually stops, you press the switch, and you want to activate laser on this diamond. Note, you cannot get the red ring before it lowers down fully. So it's really important that you be patient for the platform to go all the way down and then activate laser. But for me, I'm never patient. So I'm gonna boost over here. Whoa, check it out. I can boost above the floor. That's kind of cool. Anyway, the fifth and final red ring is on the segment at the very end. Just right after you duck underneath the spikes, and yeah, I got hit from it. You want to go all the way down, and you want to circle all the way up to here. You launch yourself up above the water, you grab onto the wall, you do like a wall jump, and you want to move yourself back into the water, and that's how you get the fifth and final red ring. This one took me a lot of attempts just to get an S rank. Now the most important thing is you want to use drill, and you can still use it while you're in the water. That's how you can rank up on points. Now Act 2 is something that I had a little bit of a rage about. Not because of the game, it's because of the controller I'm using. Now, for those of you who don't know or wasn't keeping track of my other Let's Plays, I'm actually using the wireless GameCube controller for this game. So no, I'm not using an emulator, just to let you guys know. I actually died on this segment, and I had to like change 2 different other branded GameCube controllers. So now I'm using a Wavebird GameCube one, as you can see on this photo. Anyway, the first red ring is pretty easy. It's right over there. Now the second red ring is right below that platform, but it is very, very tricky. Now the second phase of Act 2 is a little bit complicated because I'm getting the red rings out of order. The third red ring is right over there in between these moving platforms. The fourth or fifth red ring, if you want to be specific, is right at the very end on a little bit of a Ferris wheel. That's how I like to call it. And then you want to go all the way back to where you first got the cube wisp, which is right over there. Now this portion is very tricky. you want to activate cube and you want to keep going up. So once you're at the very top, you want to recollect cube or deactivate it first. It will be a lot easier. And then you want to boost and then activate it and then platform as mad as you possibly can and as fast as you can. And that's how you get the 5th and final red ring for Act 2. And as you can see here on the footage, I actually managed to get it with 1 frame in front. So yeah, if I was 1 frame off, then I wouldn't have got it. And yeah, I did in like 2 attempts. Alright, so Act 3. This one is a little bit simple, but it is very complicated because I had to do like 5 attempts just to get the first 4. Now, the first 4 is all require Rocket, and the last one requires Frenzy. Now, the first one is right in the segment. You want to activate Rocket in line with a line of rings. So you want to skydive down, and the first one is right over there. Now, in order to get the second one, you want to go back into the water, just right where you're standing. And you want to keep going until you can find Rocket and activate it in a line of rings. And then you want to skydive down very carefully in between these balls, and that's how you get the second red ring. Now the third one is right in between these 2 railings, just before the first loop-de-loop. You get the third rocket here, and you want to skydive carefully, and that's where it is. Now the 4th red ring is on this section of water. Activate Rocket, and that's where it is. Okay, so after all this madness, the final red ring is right on the moving platform that's going down just like the first one. You want to get Frenzy and you want to activate it, and you want to keep replenishing your health, and that's where the 5th one is. Okay, so Act 4. This one I honestly find, well, one of the most challenging red rings to get. Now, the first red ring is on the very, very start of the level. It's on the very tail end. It's above the water surface, and that's where it is. You don't even need drill to get it. You can just go all the way to the left, and there. Now, the second red ring, in my opinion, it is one of the hardest red rings to get. I don't know if everyone really agrees with it, but in my humble opinion, it is the absolute hardest. So you want to activate laser while standing while tinking against the walls, grab onto the wall and then move to the left slightly. You do a double jump and then activate it all the way up. Now you would hope and pray you can land on that floating platform. You jump over there, do a bit of wall climbing, and then do a ground pound, and that's how you can get the second red ring. Now, to my amazement, this is actually my first time trying to get it. Now, when I try to get that red ring for my first time, I had to do like 15 attempts to get it. Now, the third red ring is in this tank of water, and you want to go all the way to the left. That's where the third red ring is. Now, for this segment, you want to go to the right, because I tried the left one, and I didn't get red ring number 4. I just can't find it. Okay, so red ring number 4, you want to activate drill underwater, and you want to go all the way to the bottom, as close to the ground as possible, until you can find a pipe that would lead all the way to the left. So you keep going, and that's where it is. Now, the 5th red ring for Act 4, first you want to go into this tank of water, and you want to get laser first and foremost, because that's going to be important for this segment. So you want to keep going down, and you want to activate laser! And that's how you can get it. Very easy peasy. As you can see, we got another S rank, and I am so happy about it that my ego is too massive for my big giant head. Okay, so Act 5. We have the return of these bounce pads, just like from the Starlight Carnival, so it's actually quite weird to have them in the Aquarium Park. Alright, the first red ring is right over there. It's pretty easy. The second one is a little bit challenging. You just want to push this block, and there you go. So the third red ring is you want to activate the bomb, and you want to do a double jump at the right time so that you don't get hit. The fourth one, you want to go high up, You want to avoid all the obstacles, and that's where the fourth one is. If the bomb was activated, you can't get it. Now the fifth and final red ring on this segment, you want to activate the bomb at the highest point as possible. You want to get out of the way, and there's your final red ring for Act 5. Now getting an S rank on this, it's a little bit challenging because I got hit a few times and I lost all my rings. So yeah, got another S rank. Now Act 6, this one I think is the most frustrating ones to get them. Especially getting an S rank, that is the absolute worst. Now there's one red ring that's only underwater on the first segment. You want to get Drill. Drill will make it a lot easier. It's right in the middle section of this maze, and it's right in between these fans. You can get them without Drill, but it's a little bit difficult because you need to get it from underneath. Okay, so the second red ring, once you get Hover, you want to go to the right. Yeah, there's actually a secret path there. You want to activate it, but you do not want to use the Lightspeed Dash on Line of Rings. You want to go up, and then you want to boost very carefully until you get to there. It may take a few attempts, but if you do it correctly, that is awesome. Admittedly, you can do a Lightspeed Dash on the rings, but you cannot get the red ring for that segment. I only do that just to get an S rank right after. Anyway, after using Hover, the second red ring is right over there. Okay, so the third red ring is once you're on the springs, if you really dive down and then move up on the analog stick, you can get a path and use the zip line, and that's where the third red ring is. Okay, so once there, you want to boost backwards, which is a little bit weird. You do the good, great, awesome, outstanding, amazing for you to get the fourth red ring. And speaking of rings, keeping your rings without getting hit, this portion is the absolute worst. It's not the enemies you're going to be fighting, it's the camera controls. Yeah, the camera function is the absolute worst. Because the camera is not really stable and you can easily run into an enemy because you're never going to know if you're going to get hit or not. Okay, so the fifth and final red ring, you can get it without Drill, but I actually find Drill a little bit easier to get it. This took me like 5 attempts just to look for the Drill because I can't really find it. Yeah, I had to reset because you will lose points if you actually die. So, yeah, whenever you die trying to get S ranks, just reset it immediately. Anyway, the fifth final one is on the very end. It's right in the corner, and that's how you can get it. Just be careful not to get hit, and yeah, I got hit. Okay, so we have the boss fight of the Aquarium Park, the Amarol Jelly. Yeah, pretty weird name. You want to get Drill, and you want to activate it on the first phase so that you can get a lot of points. And plus that white torpedo that has the Drill inside, you can replenish its energy. Once you get enough color bonuses, you can now start doing the boss fight. The easiest way to get rid of this boss fight, you don't even need Drill for this, but it requires a lot of precision and a lot of timing. So you can just do a double jump on him, do a ground pound, and do a double jump. This takes a lot of practice, but if you do it well, it will be gold. Now this took me about roughly 2 attempts, and as you can see here, we finally get to get rid of these annoying water physics! Hooray! I am so glad that I never ever get to do a water level in my entire life. For the time being. So anyway, that was the longest amount of footage I have to do, just roughly about 80 minutes. Anyway, next time on Sonic Colors, we're gonna finally finish one of the last planets with a set of levels with the asteroid coaster, and we get to hear this really awesome metal music I'm really excited to listen to. See you guys there.